Chris, familiar face.
How are you? You okay?
How's it
You
going?
alright, yeah? How are you?
Getting flashbacks now to you as a young lad growing up.
The good times.
Oh, it's incredible what's happened over the last 3 years, isn't it, really?
I know, since you've been gone, you missed all the good times.
I missed quite a few, haven't I? Well, Jack, I've got to say this is slightly surreal, but here I am at Bodymoor Heath. It's great to be back, great to see you still at the club as the longest serving player. First of all, how have you been?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Had a good pre-season, feeling fit, so can't wait to get started.
I remember being here 3 years ago, and it was tough for everyone. People lost their jobs, there was a lot of depression around the place. So it was really tough for everyone at the club, the staff, but also the players as well. What are your sort of recollections of that?
At the time, I weren't really a proper first team established player, I was just in and out. I think it's changed now. I feel obviously captaining the team last season to promotion and playing the role that I did, I feel obviously more of an established first team player now. Like he says, at the time, it was difficult because we got relegated so early. It's probably one of the worst seasons in the club's history. But since then, I've just been trying to be positive. Every single year in the Championship, I just wanted to get this club back to the Premier League, and finally we've done it.
You've been through a lot in your young life, haven't you? You've had highs and lows. It's been a learning curve, and you've had to have a lot of determination and application, haven't you, over the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I've been around forever myself, but I feel like now is the perfect time for me, to come back into the Premier League. Maybe before I might have been a bit young, it might have all come at me too soon. I don't actually know. I'll never know. But now, I feel like I'm ready now. I feel like I said, this is the perfect time for me to come back into the Premier League and hopefully showcase my talent in the toughest league in the world.
We were just talking before we sat down about your days as a youth player, coming through the ranks, and I remember commentating on you in the Next Gen and playing in the Youth Cup. And what did you learn over those years that's stood you in good stead, if you like?
Obviously a lot, they were probably one of my favourite times of my short career so far. Playing for Villa in the Next Gen and stuff, going abroad and obviously winning that. I always played up, whether I was 16, I'd always play for the reserves or the youth team, and it set me well. Obviously I went out on loan early, tried to get as much game time as possible. I think I played about 36 or 7 games at Notts County, and it set me well on my way. And ever since then, all I ever wanted to do really was just become an established first team player. And obviously last year I topped everything off by the manager, giving me the armband and stuff, and obviously I don't think it could have went better for me personally. Yeah,
people were raving about you as a teenager playing in those matches for the youth sides, but we've seen a lot of players who've shown great potential and perhaps not pushed on and realised it. So what has it been about your journey? What have you needed particularly to make that transition from youth football to doing well for this club that you love so much?
Well, obviously, first of all, I think it's just like the push from my parents and stuff. For my whole life, they've pushed me. And secondly, I think all I've ever wanted to do was to be a footballer. When I was young, all I ever wanted to do was just play football and become a professional footballer. And obviously, it was always Villa, the team that I wanted to play for. Every time, I go out and put the shirt on, I always try and do my best, try and obviously play with so much pride and passion, and I think that's helped me along the way.
I remember the build-up to the 2015 Cup final. We found out that your great-granddad, was it, played for Villa, so it was in the blood, it was meant to be all along, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I've got a lot of Villa history in my family. My whole family are Villa fans. I ain't got no Blues fans or nothing, or no West Brom fans in my family. It's all Villa. My dad went to watch Villa, lift the European Cup in 1982, and then obviously I've played for Villa now since I was 6 years old. So yeah, I've got a big history of Villa.
Of course, you had the frustration last season, didn't you, of being injured. The team were dropping points, at that stage, and it looked like you were going to need a heck of a run, which is what did happen in the end to get you into the playoff positions. But how was that for you? Was that a real test for you as a person sitting on the sidelines?
Yeah, the whole of last season really was a bit weird. It was just full of ups and downs. Obviously, like I said at the start of the season, I didn't even think I was gonna be here. I come back. I'll come into the team then at the start of the season, and I'll be honest, I think for the first 2 months I weren't nowhere near where I should have been. Steve Bruce then got the sack and Dean Smith come in, and he spoke to me, told me how he wants me to play and stuff. And when Dean Smith did come in, I think it gave me a bit of a new lease of life really on the pitch. But then I was playing with an injury then for 5 or 6 weeks, and obviously I got my scan results back, and it was way worse than I thought. So then obviously I was out for I think 3 months. It was obviously tough watching the boys. They didn't do too well. When I was out injured, I think they won twice. Was it in 13 games or something? And yeah, when I come back in, all I wanted to do really was help the team. And then I remember the day before the game, we was just having obviously a little joke with the manager and John McGinn, and he said to me, "You're going to be captain for the game tomorrow." Obviously, I ran my dad straight away and told him and stuff, and he was over the moon. And I didn't really think it was going to end up 4-0 with me scoring, but I'd take it, and then it all just went from there.
Yeah, I've covered a few of your games for various other people like TalkSport and for the Football League show, and actually, just watching some of those, it did seem like a masterstroke from the manager to give you the armband. And did you feel that it has sort of raised your game, as it were?
Yeah, I think it has. I've tried to not let it change the way I am or change the way I train or play, because I think the team's so tight-knit in there. I think it's full of leaders. You look around the dressing room, we've got Guinea, we've got Connor, Tyrone, Tom Heaton. It's just full of experienced players that all do their fair share. But giving the manager giving me the armband, I felt like he trusted me, believed in me, and I think it obviously helped me, on the pitch, and I'm sure it did, because obviously we went on to win 10 games in a row. He's
a top pro, a good man as well, isn't he, Dean Smith? What's he like to work underneath?
Yeah, obviously everyone's different, every player's different. I think people react off different stuff, but me personally, he's just a perfect manager for me. He knows obviously when to tell you if you're doing wrong or you're doing right, but he can obviously have a joke and stuff with you as well. But for me, he feeds me with so much confidence and belief, and he makes me feel like, I'm probably the best player in the world. And obviously that helps me, on the pitch. So obviously it's a pleasure for me playing for him.
I know it's about looking forward, Jack, but have you had the odd flashback to that great moment at Wembley when you realised this is it, we've done it, we're back up?
Yeah, I've watched it obviously a few times, well, about 20 times actually. Obviously, it was probably one of the best days of my life. And like I said, being captain for it and lifting the trophy with Chelsea was just obviously a dream come true. At the start of the season, if you would have told me, that I would have been lifting the trophy as captain, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But it ended, it was like a fairy tale the way it ended, so it was obviously brilliant.
Obviously you celebrate, which, you have to do, don't you? But how then do you handle that, the fact you've had that amazing, incredible high going forward? Yeah, you can use it positively, can't you, in that you've achieved that and it's a stepping stone for something else. But how now mentally do you handle that? You put it to one side and push on now and keep a level head?
I think it's easy, it's football, isn't it? You're going to have so many highs and so many lows during your career, which obviously I've already had. But yeah, like you said, after that we had a 5-week break over the summer. I celebrated for a while, and then like you said, you put that to one side, and then it's time to obviously work again. Towards the end of the summer, I was in Dubai training and stuff. and I come back in at the start of July, and I felt as fit as I'd ever felt really. So like I said, yeah, since then I've just been looking forward. We've had a great pre-season. We haven't lost a game. So hopefully we can bring that form into the season.
Yeah, what are you, 23? Feels like you're an old hand, doesn't it? With you know the number of people who've come through the door. But you've seen several new signings. How are you getting on with them? How are they all fitting in?
Yeah, brilliant. You know, I think to be fair, I've known a lot of the signings from either playing against them or even playing with them. Obviously, I think that's the one thing the manager wanted to do, was to keep the spine of the team from last year, which he'd done. You know, he brought back Anwar, brought back Tyrone, myself, Guinea, Connor are all still here. So yeah, you know, we brought in a few players as well, and they've all fitted in brilliantly. They've all looked very good over pre-season, so we'll see how they get on next week.
I mean, no one remembers results years from now from pre-season, do they? But it can't do any harm. Having seen the games, you've scored plenty of goals, you've shared them round and beat some good opposition.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's the main thing in football. You know, you just want to win. So it's all good. You know, getting your work done. Obviously, getting fitter and stuff. But at the end of the day, football's about winning, and that's what we've tried to do in every single game. Even if it's the first game, the manager still says to us, "Go out there. Obviously, get your work. Just keep running around to obviously build your fitness, but win." And we've done that in every single game. So I know what the manager's like. I know his philosophy, and I think he'll go into this game at the weekend. He won't want nothing else but a win.
We've mentioned what went wrong before, but how? I mean, I've noticed it just coming in this week. How different a club is this now? What I mean by that is almost, everyone seems together, don't they? The staff, the players, the fans. There does seem to be more of a unified nature to it. Do you feel that?
Yeah, of course. I think that comes from obviously getting promoted last season. Obviously, as soon as we went on that 10-game winning streak, I think there was like an instant bond really between the players and the fans especially, which is obviously always nice because the fans obviously play such a big part. But yeah, obviously around the place now there's so much positivity, and I think everyone's just looking forward to the season starting really, because obviously we feel like we can have a good season.
Funny how things work out, isn't it? What were your thoughts when the fixtures came out and it was Spurs?
Yeah, I think it just had to be that one really, didn't it? But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's the perfect game, to get started. If we can go there, and get a win, get a draw, who knows? I think that will set us on our way, and hopefully we can get a good result.
I mean, Champions League finalists, they've got some fabulous players, but equally, as I've said to you before, so have Aston Villa. You have to concentrate on what you've got and you can bring to the party. Yeah,
I think you look at their stadium, you look at the players and the manager. I think everyone knows what a massive club they are. But like he says, we've just got to concentrate on ourselves. We've got such a good team here. The owners have invested brilliantly into the club over the summer. We've brought in a lot of new players, and like I says, we've been brilliant in pre-season. So we'll concentrate on ourselves, and if we can play to the way we know we can, I'm sure we can go there and get a result.
I remember the one Premier League goal you have scored at Leicester. Have you got plenty more under your sleeve, Jack?
I hope so. I should have scored a few more than one, I think. But yeah, hopefully this season, I can make my mark. And the manager's already spoke to me about what he wants from me. He wants goals and assists. So hopefully, me and Guinea can both do that from our midfield position.
Yeah. Do you share the excitement, presumably, of the fans about being in the top flight again? You think of the stadiums you're going to be playing in. Yeah, Villa Park's right up there, of course, but the Old Traffords and the Emirates and all of that.
Yeah, of course. Starting, yeah. Especially all the other lads, that have come in. I've played at most of them before, but all the lads obviously that have just joined this year. They haven't played in the Premier League before, and I think nowadays everyone wants to play in the Premier League. I think it's the biggest league in the world and the toughest. So yeah, they're all obviously excited, and like you said, can't wait to play at the likes of Old Trafford and Anfield and stuff. So we're looking forward to them ones.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You've got someone like Tom Heaton, who is in there with his experience, has played in the Premier League before. But a lot of players, I know you've tasted it, but a lot of the guys, it's their first time in the top flight, and that can almost be used to your advantage, isn't it? The fact that they're moving their careers on an upward curve.
Yeah, of course, you know, I think, like you says, that can be used an advantage because it makes us, you know, more hungry. I think probably is only me, Tyrone and Tom that have probably played, well, Tails as well, Chesney, that have played in the Premier League before. So, yeah, like I said, all the new lads will be looking forward to it. I know Guinea hasn't shut up about playing at Anfield, so he can't wait for that one. But yeah, so we're all looking forward to it.
Just from afar, seems like you've got a bit of a bromance going with Guinea there. It's a good mate of yours.
Yeah, he's all right. He loves me. I'm all right with him.
Really, it's not always two-way, is it? But generally, finally from me, you know, you do clearly have that camaraderie in the squad with the players who are already here, and you've achieved the continuity that you mentioned. With those other guys coming in, do you feel as a long-serving player you have a sort of a role to welcome them, to make them feel at home, or does it sort of come naturally in a football environment?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, I think that's what, you know, when the manager give me the captain's armband, I think that's why. But like I says, it's such a tight-knit dressing room in there. Everyone just welcomes everyone, and you know, we're all leaders in there. We all do the same job. So yeah, obviously I just try and do what comes natural to me.
Yeah, interviews clearly come naturally to you nowadays as well. It's been a while, but I remember you being fairly quiet, and now, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've done a fair few over the past few years. So I'm used to it now.
Yeah, Premier League, you might have to do even more.
Exactly, hopefully.